So, the question is, okay, what? Let me ask you. So first, you're gonna share your name, okay, and I'm gonna go around. And what is the craziest excuse you ever heard? And let's start on my left.
Crazy excuse.
Hi everyone, I am Olive, and the craziest excuse I've ever heard was my dog ate my homework. That's the first thing I can't agree to.
My name is Nora. And I haven't thought of anything yet.
Neither have I.
Craziest
You
excuse.
had kids.
I'm not crazy, but an excuse was I was not texting. I fell asleep.
Can't
Can I
find.
see your phone for a minute?
And Vanessa, I really don't know. I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything.
She did. I'm Vincent. I'm Vincent. The dog ate my homework. Check mine.
Okay, my name's Marley. I'm still trying to think of one too.
One, two.
I don't-
Back to you guys.
Okay.
My name is Alicia, and the excuse is, it's not even an excuse, but my manager thought it was a crazy excuse for me to say. I came out of the shower and I twisted my ankle on a hanger, and my manager, it happened to be Marley's 21st birthday that time, and he thought I was making an excuse. He said, "Oh, you just want to go to her birthday party." But it was not an excuse. I really did hurt myself, and he thought I was making a crazy excuse. But I really did hurt
you show him the
myself. He
picture?
thought I was trying to go to her birthday.
Did you show him the picture?
No, but I had to come in and prove to him.
Oh, that.
And what comes to mind, like, maybe it sounds crazy, but I've never heard anything like that from anyone else. So when my daughter was not very young like this, at around 9 years old, and I was telling her go to do her homework, and she's like, "Mom, but I'm a child. I should eat and sleep because I'm a child." And then she put her bed and put herself to sleep. I'm a child and I will be sleepy, and you have to give me food because I have to eat because I'm a child. No effort because I'm a child and I need to sleep.
I'm Sandra, and the excuse came from my own mouth. I was very young, and I guess it's something I had heard from my stepmom at the time. So we used to get in trouble if we would fall asleep while watching TV. And so I fell asleep, and my dad said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I woke up and I told him I'm checking my eyelids for holes.
Check my eyelids for holes.
And my dad was
Jason?
so mad. I got spanked, but my stepmom hugged me and it felt so bad because I had heard it from her. That was the excuse, was I'm checking my eyelids for holes.
She's like, "Oh no."
I can't see the hole.
They're so funny.
Oh my god.
I don't thought of that before.
My name's Sade. And a crazy excuse I hear is like on TV a lot, like, "Oh, I was so busy, I was walking my fish."
You don't know?
looking over there.
That's a baby.
Yeah. I can't remember. I can't remember. But he's already a
Look him on YouTube. I mean Google.
My name's Rebecca, and the craziest excuse I've heard was my grandpa died.
What day?
I know.
Grandpa died.
And it was not
They
true.
used that wasn't true. It was I was supposed to go on a date.
What?
We were supposed to go on a date, and then we ended up not going on the date, but we still hung out later that day. And then I ended up finding out it was a lie. It was like, let's just have a love moving on.
Oh my
I was like, I'm done. I'm out.
Red flag. Red flag.
Red flags.
That's a red flag situation. My name's Omar, for those who don't know. Crazy excuse I heard. Okay, wasn't the excuse, it was a little bit funny. Was I hurt? The thing was, my back gave out right in the morning. So there was a muscle spasm, so I collapsed on the floor. I'm just in my towel, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't move. So I literally had to call work and hey, my back gave out. They're like, man, you're 25 years old. What do you mean your back gave out? I was like, there's muscle spasm. I can't move. So I literally had to call. It wasn't an excuse, but they thought it was an excuse. So I got written up for it.
What?
Until I brought the doctor to UCLA, and the HR was like, no, you need to remove that point from it. Yeah, because, but literally they thought I was making an excuse talking about my muscles. But no, realistically, my back gave out. So that was a crazy excuse that they heard at the time. But that was
Oh my gosh.
all right, guys. So we all know about excuses, right? But we're gonna look into the Bible here where people had different excuses to deal with God, right? Let's turn to Luke chapter 14. Luke chapter 14. And
Oh.
Bible, you can also share with someone on the right. Luke chapter 14. We're going to verse 15. Who can be my amazing volunteers? Start on verse 15. 15 to 24. Who can read for us? Luke chapter 14, start on verse 15. Who can read for us? 15 to 24. Alex. Someone there?
Luke
14, 15.
I'm not there yet. 14.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's big enough.
Luke 14.
Luke 14?
Yes.
It's gonna be Luke 14.
You would think I'd be able to find it with the big writing. Thank you. There we are.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody there now?
Yes.
Awesome. The Bible says the parable of the great banquet. When one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, "Blessed is the one who will eat at the feast in the kingdom of God." Jesus replied, "A certain man was preparing a great banquet and invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, 'Come, for everything is now ready.' But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, 'I have just bought a field, and I must go and see it. Please excuse me.' Another said, 'I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me.' Still another said, 'I just got married, so I can't come.' The servant came back and reported this to his master. Then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, 'Go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' 'Sir,' the servant said, 'what you order has been done, but there's still room.' Then the master told his servant, 'Go out to the
great banquet, right? Now, when you think of a banquet, you think of something elegant, right? Not something you come in your jeans, sneakers. Obviously, this is hamburger style, so we can come in, I come in chunkless, shorts, and a t-shirt. So this is more fun, but if it's a banquet, you got prepared to go, right? So, what are some characteristics of a great banquet? What's some characteristics?
Delicious food.
Delicious food? Okay, what else?
Very well prepared.
Huh?
Very well prepared and organized. Heavy kind.
Fancy silver, heavy. You don't know which fork to use. Like this, 3 or 4. Okay.
Outside in, outside in.
Huh?
Drinks.
It's free. It is. Free? Yes, it's free.
I imagine like a Harry Potter feast.
Like Harry Potter feast.
Oh, wow.
I think of, maybe I'm a little bit too childish in this, but you ever seen the movie Hook?
Yes.
Robin Williams and at the table. As a kid, when I saw that scene, I was like, oh, that looks so good. I was like, look at that pie, look at the turkey. I just remember like a big feast, right? And you make me say, you had to imagine it. I was like, man, there's no food here. But then he saw the big feast, right? So, what was the best, in your eyes, what was the best banquet that you were able to attend? What was the best one for you?
Wedding.
Wedding? Okay.
Wedding banquets.
Huh?
Wedding banquets.
Wedding banquets. Okay. Yeah, I think for me it was a work dinner that we had. My old job, it was like 10th top floor, overseeing everything, and the shrimp was unlimited. I said, ooh,
Unlimited?
right? But it was fancy and a lot of details were there, right? So, obviously, with this great banquet, right, there's some similarities to try to do with the church at certain times, right? Jesus is talking about a parable, right? It always had a spiritual meaning, okay? So, it was a privilege to be invited to this, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people had different excuses, right? A lot of different excuses. All right. So, let's really look at these excuses, right? So, in verse 18 it says, I've just bought a field and I must go and see it.
Oh.
Now, for him, what was his excuse?
Just go to the house and eat
I don't have the time. Okay. He had to go attend what he just got. He got to take care of his business, right? He didn't have time to come to this banquet. Okay. How about verse 19? I have just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Now, what was really his excuse?
He's got his investment.
His investment, right? He wanted to see a return on his investment. He's like, hey, I just need to see about this investment, and this is more important than coming to this bank. Like, it's really not that serious. That's how we see it. Okay. But verse number 20. Now, for those of us who've been married, let's really see verse 20. It says, some of them said, I just got married, so I can't come. I just got married, okay? So he was like, hey, you know what? My wife at home. He didn't even say it was a boy. He was like, hey, I just got married. It is what it is. Alright?
Yeah.
So when we really think about these excuses, what's the one thing they all have in common?
They couldn't go.
They couldn't go.
Not just fine. Okay.
They didn't want to go.
Huh?
They didn't want to go.
They didn't want to go. Right? What else? What else is in common? I don't know.
I think that they all prioritize something else.
Try something else.
Whatever they had going, they thought was more valuable than what was being offered to them.
Okay.
Kept them away from the word of God.
Yeah. Take away, right? So a lot of them had different excuses. Now, when you really think about it, what are some excuses that people make nowadays when it comes to following God? What are some excuses? Oh,
It's too hard.
it's too hard. Okay. What else?
I gotta work.
I got to work. I need to see man, right? I remember,
Many people nowadays are saying, why should I trust the Bible? It was rewritten so many times. People put their whatever they want us to do.
exactly, right? Or it could be, I had a bad taste at church, so I'm never coming back. And you're like, wait, people have flaws. I mean, I think you should go back and talk to the person you had a bad experience with. Hey, I didn't feel like that was very loving. Now, can you like to do that? Absolutely not, right? Even at work sometimes, you know that coworker that irritates you, but you're like, woo! Just pass on by, not scared, right? So there's a lot of different excuses that people make, with God, right? They don't have time, I want to sleep in, it's just not for me, it's too hard, or it's really, I don't see the value in it, right? Like, my life is great. There's nothing going on. When you walk in Orange County, like you see this part of Orange County, like, this is nice. This is beautiful, right? Well, realistically, when you see the news sometimes about Orange County, you're like, wow, there's a lot of dark spots in Orange County that you're like, whoo, you would never think that would happen here, right? You would never think that would happen here, right? Well, what happened? Do you think these are any good excuse to not follow God?
No.
Absolutely not, right? So the king was very angry with his people making excuses. And I think likewise, God does not like when people make excuses, right? So when you see verse 23, what happens? What happens in verse 23? You see the master tells the servant, go out to the roads and country lanes and compel them to come in. When you hear the word compel, it's not just, hey, come to the banquet. It's like, hey, this banquet is going to be amazing. There's fried chicken. There's Korean fried chicken. I mean, the chef that flew from Russia, I don't know.
The chef from Russia.
Hey, I got to let you know you cannot miss this, right? So they were getting desperate. Like, they were like, hey, let's bring everyone in. Now imagine I was walking on the road and I got invited. I'm like, oh snap, I had nothing planned today. Awesome. If I had something planned my schedule, I'm like, man, this is a great banquet. I gotta go, right? Maybe some people didn't. Some people didn't take it seriously. They're like, nah, I'm still not going to this banquet, right? So it was interestingly, a lot of people went to this banquet, right? But what stops people from being more desperate? Obviously, like what really helps people nowadays to get closer to God? What affects them at certain times? What happens?
I think sometimes, at least for me, what helped me to get closer to God was that I grew tired of my current circumstance, and I was like starting to get really depressed. And so it helped me, even in like my own life, I guess, or like circumstance. It made me draw or lost from people.
I felt like I got to a point where I felt like it was my only hope because I did everything, and then I felt like this is the only thing I know that's right, and I feel like maybe it will help me. And so when I gave it a chance, it did.
Sometimes it's tragedies that happen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's disasters. You ever see certain places in the world break? Sometimes it could be a breakup. It could be something serious like a breakup. You're like, man, this person broke my heart, and you're like, I gotta get closer to God, right? Sometimes it's disasters. Sometimes it's a tornado or and different things. You're like, man, everything's stripped away. And God's like, hey, come on where's warm? Get closer. But sometimes people don't even do that. Like, we get so hard-hearted that we're like, still like, no, I refuse to get closer to God, right? So, obviously in verse 24 it says, I tell you, not one of those who are invited get a taste. Now, Jesus is very specific, right? Now, imagine the person who made it, seeing these people go to the banquet now, and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? The banquet's looking so amazing. I can see it from the windows. And they try to get in, the security's like, nope, you're not on the list. well, I was invited before. Yeah, but the master was pretty darn serious when he said you would not get a taste. Right? So I think obviously, we think about God's kingdom, it's like church. It's not compared to a little breakfast meal, right? It's compared to a great banquet. It's so great, no excuse is very valid, right? If someone asks you and invited you out tonight, it's not by coincidence, right? Study out the Bible, get to know what it is to really go to. What are some things that you need to grab with you? What is the spiritual thing? You got to put on your good clothes. Maybe some things you need to different things that you got to learn to go to this banquet, because it is a prerequisite, right? You go to the banquet, imagine saying all black one, you see black and white, right? Black suits and black tie. When you show up in a red suit, are you Are you suited up for this banquet?
No, you're not sure.
Absolutely not, right? If God's like, hey, like, I want you to love people, but you're like, no, I don't want to love people. Sorry, can't make it to the banquet. So it's something as serious, guys, but don't allow excuses to stop you from being desperate for God. There's nothing more awesome and fulfilling than a great relationship with Him. That even feels awesome or marriage. So study out the Bible really, and that's Bible discussion for tonight. Get a little bit of feedback.
I like today's Bible discussion. I feel like I've heard of so many excuses, sharing my faith with other people. I've made so many excuses before I just studied the Bible. And I've heard this parable before, but I haven't heard it in so long for now, like I can always think of this now when I share my faith. Yeah. Like it's a really good parable. I think it's perfect for tonight. Thank you for sharing. You did a great job. Thank you for the burgers too.
I love this parable, especially for today that we have our visitors.
You tell them like, oh, there's food. This banquet had food, right?
the fact that now I can see it from like a different point of view because one of the excuses that I'm pretty sure I have made myself before in the past. And I think part of what helped me to, I guess, led me to make an excuse was thinking that I was already close to it, or that I was okay with my relationship. And I think I didn't take the actual time that was being offered to me. So like, I remember my friend asked me to study the Bible a long time ago, and in 2020. And I'm like, I wish I would have known sooner. And then I checked my messages, and it actually, she had invited me in 2018. And I had said no. I had made an excuse myself already, so I think I get to see now, like, after having studied the Bible, the goodness and the taste of the banquet. So I'm appreciative. But then I need to also see the part where I get to tell others, like, come taste it. You know, it's so good in here. It's so good in here. And I think, like, even for like all of us here, I think if you guys are visiting, like, you guys want to study the Bible, like let's set something up. I would love it. I would love it because I get to see both sides, you know, and yeah, you won't regret it. Is what I'm saying. But yeah, thank you.
Alright guys, well, that's the discussion for tonight. We still left chips and everything, and we're gonna be back here next week. Possibly come up. That was fun. Alright, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Alright, little birdies.